If sequestration goes into effect, we've heard all of these predictions about calamity that will befall us, and particularly from military contractors. The world will come to an end as we know it. And they're panicking people who work for them. But the truth is that for all of these weapons makers, they have 2- and 3-year backlogs of funds that are already allocated for weapons that are in the pipeline. And they're going to continue making those. That gives us a 1 to 3 and sometimes longer years to figure out how to make this transition without threatening anybody's job. But there's another source of money. The Pentagon, a couple of months ago, was sitting on $130+ billion in unconsigned resources. Money that had already been budgeted, that they haven't spent and it's not allocated for anything. When they realized that this sequestration might actually happen, they began spending money like crazy, buying everything that they, what did you say you wanted for Christmas? Go buy it, right? And they managed to spend it down at the rate of about $1 billion a day, or excuse me, several million dollars a day. They spent it down to 105 billion plus. There's $105 billion. Now, remember, sequestration is supposed to be about $85 billion. Take it out of the Pentagon account. We don't have to sequester anything. There's $85 billion plus sitting in that account unspent. Recover the money. A congressional commission on wartime contracting did a study. And last fall, they reported an estimated $31 to $60 billion in Defense Department waste and fraud related to Iraq and Afghanistan. Millions of dollars simply disappeared.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember it, but I saw the photographs in Iraq in particular, where they had huge crates of money. Pallets with money stacked up, wrapped, right?
Remember that.
That they offloaded. And the idea was that they were going to give money to every one of the field commanders to buy off the local population. And they did use it for that. But millions and millions of dollars simply went missing. Waste, fraud, and abuse? Yes. Yesterday we had a national series of demonstrations called Pull the Pork. And there's a lot of pork to pull. The trouble is that doesn't tell the whole story. Pulling the pork is the easy part. That's the low-hanging fruit. The harder part is changing the policy that creates the pork. We need to demilitarize American foreign policy if we want to demilitarize our economy. We have to change our priorities so that our first recourse is not to send the Marines or Special Forces or the 11th Fleet, but to engage diplomatically, to bring in mediation, to go to the United Nations, to work in a sincere way to resolve conflicts before they happen, or when they're young enough to solve easily. And if, as I said, we put as much energy and resources into that, we wouldn't need all those Marines. Your tax dollars allow the Pentagon annually to spend $500 million on marching bands. Marching bands, $500 million a year. Your tax dollars allow the Pentagon to operate or own 233 golf courses around the world, and 3 world-class resorts, including a ski resort in the Bavarian Alps. That's your money. So don't tell me that we can't cut that budget without impairing our security. There's no question about it. And cutting that budget is the first step to changing the nation's priorities, to put jobs ahead of jails, to spend more on education than we spend on incarceration. Because we're living with the consequences of the militarization of our foreign policy here at home. Our police departments are being militarized. Now they're even asking for drones. Next they're going to want to know, well, can we assassinate really bad people here on our soil? They do such a good job over there, right? When you, if you were downtown in Oakland during Occupy and you saw the police response, what you saw was a paramilitary or a military response. Every police department has a budget from the Pentagon to acquire weapons that are used by the military. And they can apply for grants if they don't have money in their budgets from the Pentagon. So not only are we hiring in our police forces people who got their killer training in the service, but we are now giving them the guns they used to kill overseas so that they can kill here at home.